When we last received a visit from Dan Gilligan, New Jersey Director of Convention of States, Donald Trump's drain the swamp mantra for accountability in Congress gripped the nation, and he had not yet taken his oath of office. Convention of States is like-minded in holding the Senate and House responsible to the people who elect them. Since inauguration, what seemed crystal clear now has cloud cover on it. There's been a concerted effort to reconfigure the swamp map. Democrats and Republicans alike are using the president's policies and positions as a barometer for their own. Here in New Jersey, a resolution calling for a convention of states sits in both houses of the legislature. Every seat of the legislature is at stake this November. It's a year for no-brainer bills to sail through. The tough calls, even resolutions like Convention of States, very often land in the back seat. How does the upcoming election affect the chances of this resolution to succeed? How does the Convention of States movement and Citizens for Self-Governance view the constantly shifting landscape? How do they adjust to retain their footing? Dan has returned to answer some of those questions and get into a discussion about it. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, very glad to be here, Tom. Thanks for having me back again. As far as the overall national political landscape and the election of Donald Trump and the issues that you speak about, I don't see our project as being really affected greatly by those maneuverings and positions taken by those national politicians. I see us as much simpler. Really what we're trying to do is activate this means by which regular citizens can act as a check on the power of the federal government. And some people may say to us, well, Donald Trump is trying to do the same thing, isn't he? And I would say, well, what he's doing may certainly be construed as that, and that appears to be a big part of his objectives. But our government wasn't structured with the expectation that we would have a reliance on one individual to do the things that we're talking about doing. What we're talking about doing through a convention of states is finding out ways for the states to get together and restrict federal spending and restrict federal power and jurisdiction and consideration of term limits. So we see these things as much more, I guess, important than the current political environment, because we believe that if these things are not addressed, whichever side of the aisle you're on, the country is on a very bad trajectory with the 20 trillion and the 100 trillion in unfunded and the 400 federal agencies and the difficulties that as well-intended as Donald Trump and that administration may be, are very, very difficult to solve at the federal level.
In light of that,
Okay.
do Donald Trump's policies reinforce your mission, or do they present obstacles to your mission? I'm talking about the early going.
I think there's two ways to look at that. I believe that we have some similar. It's a similar path that we're going down, because Donald Trump does talk about it. Was it Steve Bannon who said, "I'm looking to dismantle the administrative state"? Well, one of our application items talks about restricting federal power and jurisdiction. So, we are similar, but I believe that we're a much more powerful way of doing that, and a much better way for the country, because what we're looking to do is engage a very, very powerful constituency in this country to affect change, one that doesn't realize how powerful it is, and that's the citizenry. And there really can't be a lot of controversy about what we're doing, because, or at least I don't feel that there should be, because we aren't making this up as we go. We're not doing this because we hope it's a good idea. We're simply reading the Constitution and kind of following the recipe that's laid out in there as far as the method by which we as regular citizens acting through our state legislature can serve as the check to federal power. We're familiar with the concept, the balance of power, checks and balance between the three branches of the federal government. What was not highlighted in our fifth grade social studies was that there is supposed to be that same concept applicable between the states and the federal government. And that's articulated in Article 5 of the Constitution, and we're about picking up that tool and using it. Now, so in that way, we're, I guess, complementary to what it is the Trump administration in some ways is trying to do. At the same time, from the Democrat side, there are Democrats looking at what the Trump administration is trying to do and say, whoa, we've lost a thousand state congressional seats. We've lost the numerous governorships, and there are so many state houses now that, 32, I think, that are completely red between the legislature and the governorship. And then you have Donald Trump and you have the federal Congress. So if you're a Democrat, you're looking at saying, man, I don't have too many arrows in my Fletcher here. So what we're trying to do is say, well, look what we're doing. What we're doing is a means that you can use in order to look to have your agenda done through using the same Article 5 tool that we're using. So I think that in that respect, it's made what we're doing something that more people are paying attention to, from the Democrat side also.
Do you have a number of how many states have enacted the resolutions?
Yeah, there's, I do, and it's 8, but we've been around for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm a volunteer, as are all of us across the country. Well, I shouldn't say all of us. We do have a paid national staff that directs us, and there's legal guys and finance guys and media guys, and they're very, very important in instructing us volunteers about how to go about doing this. But in 3 years, to have 8 states on board, from what I'm told, that is really, really rapid, and that is indicative of being pretty successful. Along those same lines, I'll tell you that we are the first organization, political organization of any type, to have a petition signed in every legislative district in the country. So, although 8 states, it's not a lot. We're doing pretty well.
Right,
and we're working
it should
very
be pointed
hard.
out, as you pointed out previously, one does not need all 50 states for this motion to carry.
That's right. The nuts and bolts of what we're doing is that according to what's prescribed in Article 5 of the Constitution, is that 2/3 of the states simply have to agree in their state legislature, and this is what the 8 states have agreed to so far, on a common application, as it's referred to. And our application says, we'd like the states to get together and talk about ways in which we could reduce federal spending, reduce federal power and jurisdiction, and consideration of term limits. So once those 2/3 or 34 states agree to that, we have a meeting. Mm-hmm. We have a discussion, and the states get together and really look to use the power that they've been granted to address these issues. And we have to remember, because some people will say, "Oh, Dan, you mean Supreme Court doesn't weigh in on that, or the president doesn't have anything to say? How can you leave those guys out?" Well, let's keep in mind that the states came first, and it was the states who created the federal government, and they created the federal government for a number of reasons. But a big part of the basis of those reasons was to serve the states, and sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And the reason why our tool in Article 5 exists is because a couple of very prescient founders said, hey, what happens if instead of this thing serving us, it starts to feel like it gets flipped over and we're serving it, the way that power tends to grow, the way that people are. And guess what? I think those guys were onto something a couple 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. So they gave us this tool, and we're all about using that. In fact, There's people who say that there was an expectation that this would be used every 10, 25, 50 years. And part of the reason why you see the country in the condition that it's in now is because this hasn't been used. So we're very excited, and proud to be part of that. Once the 34 states call that meeting, that convention, then all 50 states send a representative to discuss our 3 application items, the spending, the jurisdiction, and the term limits. And whatever they might be able to agree on, then whatever work product that is gets sent back out to all the states, and it needs to get approved. And it doesn't need to get approved by 34 this time, it needs to get approved by 38. So it's a lot there. These guys thought this through pretty well. It's not easy, but it is doable. And
Dan, now we come to, the organization in New Jersey is 3 years old.
almost, yeah.
Nationally,
3 years. We've been doing it a little less in New Jersey.
3 years.
Yeah, right.
And this is really the first time that your organization in New Jersey has faced an election cycle in which every seat in the legislature is up for grabs.
That's for sure.
It's a Democratic state. The Democrats control both houses. Your resolution is Republican sponsored. What has been your progress with Democratic lawmakers, and does the fact that anything that looks dangerous or anything that looks original tends to wind up in the back seat until after elections, does this raise a level of difficulty for you?
Well, the Democratic legislature has, I think, is challenging for us, as it is for people like our group in every state. The 8 states that have passed it so far are red states, and it appears to me that they have an easier job than people like us in Illinois and New Jersey and the blue states. But the Democrats do give us a hearing on it. It's just that for some reason, although I consider this bipartisan, I mean, how can you take an adverse position to the government's financial condition, But the Democrats, it is perceived as something of a partisan issue. So what we do is we have a very robust website, and for our volunteers, our leaders in New Jersey, we're able to pull lists of exactly who the petition signers, and we have a petition that just says you think what we're doing is a good idea. We pull the list of those petition signers in each legislator's district. So when we can go to a legislator, and in the off year, there was legislators in New Jersey winning their seats by less than 2,000 votes. I have 1,800 votes, and I not by 1,800, but with 1,800. So if we can go to a legislator and say, look, we have 1,000 of your constituents who really feel like our resolution deserves a hearing in committee and in the legislature, that's something that they're attentive to regardless of what their party affiliation is. So
where have you seen that sort of groundswell within the state?
We're working on it. We're working on it, Tom.
I know you've gotten some good pockets. I know that Ocean County has some representation on the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Where are you looking? Where are the areas you're looking to move into to press your point?
Okay. Well, we do have some areas of the state because there are leaders in the legislature or committee people that we would like to be able to have more and better communications with, that we'd like to up our petition numbers in and our engagement. And that's parts of South Jersey and Atlantic City area, in Salem area, Middlesex around New Brunswick, South Plainfield, Trenton in particular, and the Jersey City, Bayonne area also. Those are important parts because we'd like to better communicate with some of those folks. Statewide, we have a great team. We have over 1,000 volunteers. We have some state leadership people working, such as Gary Brenner, our media liaison, Bill Boniface, Grassroots, Rodica. Lori, who handle our computer stuff. And we also have active about 25 people in regions or districts who kind of act as the CEO of their district in getting volunteer support, excuse me, in setting up meetings and communicating with legislators. So we have about 12,000 petitions signed in New Jersey right now, and we're building out a schedule for 2017 where we're participating in more events. We have more opportunities, to talk with folks like you, and all of those things seek to engage people, let them know, because when people learn about what we're doing, and when they learn that, this is a legitimate way for me to do something about problems that have bothered me, because people, they can't always really well articulate what it is that troubles them about the federal government, but they say, geez, if I was to just look 10, 20, 30 years from now, I really don't see, this working out too well for us. They know that. And when they learn about our project, people say, hey, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. What can I do? So it's not a question of us having to, convince people of that. It's just us being able to kind of get that word out and attract more people to our group. Then we have better communications relationships with legislators who hopefully will consider our resolution. Now, from a legislator standpoint, what we're doing, it is a resolution and not a bill, which, a bill actually is law. Our resolution, the legislature passing it, would just them saying, yeah, we think these guys are onto something, we think that this is a good idea. You really haven't done anything. So if you're a legislator who wants to have people understand that they do have some cognizance and consider there to be some importance to the issue of federal spending, federal power and jurisdiction, and consideration of term limits, very popular issues. If you want to indicate your support of that type of, of those items, you can sign on with us. You can support us. You can vote for us, co-sponsor us, and at the same time, while you've indicated that support, you really haven't affected anybody. Mm-hmm. Okay, whether it's your constituents or your whatever peer group or associates. So we're very positive about what we're doing. And
well, the fact that you have more than 1,000 volunteers and you have more than 12,000 signatures, those are, if I recall correctly, significant increases over the last time we spoke, which was back in December, and it's only 3 months later.
Yeah. Well, we have a great team. We have the emails going out, we have the phone calls being made. We are, in fact, a national project, so we have a big website, and we have
ConventionEstates.com.
Exactly, ConventionEstates.com. There's another website, COS Action, but through that website, a lot of people just kind of come in over the transom, and there's days where there's so many new people on that website where, our computer people, Lori and Rodica, we can't get back to all of these people with our volunteer group. So and there's people who fortunately we have who coordinate that, and we do want to be responsive as best we can to all the new people who come in and want to engage with us.
Okay, so if you want to be involved in this movement, visit ConventionEstates.com or COSAction.com.
That's right.
Okay, either one of those will show you what they're doing in detail and will give you an inkling as to the role that you can play in regard to moving this ball down the field. Now, in the past couple of weeks, we've seen actions by groups like New Jersey Citizens Action and nationally by groups such as Invincible, who've tried to steer the dialogue and attempted to basically paint congressmen into corners. Maybe justified, maybe not. But trying to control the political dialogue. Are you concerned that your movement could be either hijacked or swallowed up by a group with a different agenda that appears to be similar? Or are you looking at ways that you can collaborate with groups like that in order to magnify your agenda?
Well, I'm not concerned about our group. I'm not concerned about our group moving forward in a bad way at all. Our group is what we're doing is very honorable, patriotic, and we're not winging it. We're just following the recipe that's in the Constitution. So I'm not concerned about us really getting off track. We have a pretty well laid out formula for how it is that we want to move forward. And I don't think that anybody can really be offended or feel very adverse to the method by which we're going about doing this. As far as other groups with which we're looking to align, yeah, we're looking to form coalitions of other groups who support us, and those relationships we have with a couple of groups, and we're trying to build more of them throughout New Jersey. But I look at this as a project, and I know you mentioned movement, and I think of it in my own mind more of as a project, because we're just looking to get done one thing, and what we're looking to do has a very clear end zone. We're going to know when we put the ball across the end zone, because and then our project will have been completed. So I guess I really have kind of laser vision about what it is that we're doing, and I'm happy to deal with other groups and work with other groups where they support us. But I think we're on the right track, and I think we'll stay that way until we can get New Jersey as one of those 34 states. That's hard, and we're doing it. And then I have a feeling that what's going to happen is there's going to be a whole bunch of other people who are going to get involved at that point at actually having a convention and then moving it back out to the 38 states. I'll mention that we did have a simulated convention in September, where our national organization got representatives from every one of the 50 states. They got together, kind of had a dry run of the whole thing, and came out with some amendments, and it worked out really well.
Okay, now just to be clear about the main objectives: federal spending,
Yeah.
term limits,
Yeah.
what else?
We seek to find ways to restrict or reduce federal spending, do the same to federal power and jurisdiction, and consideration of term limits. So those are kind of the issues. And what I find very attractive about this is that we haven't come and said, we know how to fix federal spending, balance the budget, or reduce Medicaid spending to this percentage every year, or any other strategy to potentially reduce spending. All that we've said is we think we got to reduce spending, and we think that by getting all of the states together, the representatives of various states, what could be a better way to go about doing this and that? We haven't come and said, here's our solution because we're really smart. We know the answer. We said, the federal government's not going to do this. The states have this power that they need to recall and assume. And the whole thing I just find to be remarkably elegant, because we're getting something done that's important. We're recognizing, we're checking the federal government and placing power in a way that it is in a better balance. And we're also letting regular citizens, people like us, who've looked at this and said, man, how is this thing ever going to get fixed? Well, this is it.
Now, in case you're not familiar with Dan, this is not the only thing he does. Dan actually runs a business, and he runs it every day. This is his side job. I know he sounds like he does this all the time. It's occupying one part of his brain. So let me just ask you personally.
Yes, you're right, yes.
Now that you've signed on for the whole ride, do you ever stop and say, what the heck did I get myself into?
While you were talking, that's what I was thinking. It is, and it's not just me. There's a number of us who you get involved in this, and it just becomes part of what you do every day. And I'm fortunate to be in a position where I can, allocate some time to doing this, as is, my pal Gary and a number of us around the state, and it just feels important. And when I look back, I am a businessman. I own a business. I'm not a politician, but I'll look back one day and I'll say, yeah, that was the right thing to do. We were involved in something really big, and did something significant. So, although, yeah, there's a little bit of time involved, I'm very happy to be here.
As a business operator, with a president who's known how to run a business too, do you find an element of optimism in there for you? Do you find that he would probably resonate with what's going on once he knows about it?
Well, Donald Trump and representatives of his administration are on the record being concerned about the fiscal issues of the country and being concerned about the jurisdictional and extent of federal power. Now, in his particular business as a New York City real estate development, I'm sure that he's had his fair share of jurisdictional and power issues, and I'm sure that is somewhat personal to him. I'm just speculating, but yeah, I have a feeling that what we're doing may very well be attractive to him. I have no idea if the president is aware of us or not.
Would it be of
I
any
suspect he
value?
is.
Would it be of any value to get this to his attention? If somehow bring to his attention while you're in the building mode, or do you need to wait until you have the 2/3 states in order to validate that and say, look what we've got?
Well, whatever your issue may be, if you can have it promoted by Donald Trump, a lot of people are going to know about it. The man has a gift. But I do see what we're doing as being on a complementary path to him. I'll also tell you that it's surprising. We have the opportunity to talk with certainly legislators in New Jersey and other people in New Jersey that we come in contact through convention states. A lot of people know Donald Trump. A lot of people, I know Donald Trump, and so I said, can you pass this on? And we also have, we're just New Jersey. We have a national team dealing with this stuff, and we have national figures who are on our board and who are, Senator Tom Coburn is a really big part of our team. Mark Meckler, Mark Levin talks about us all the time. So I would expect that people close to Mr. Trump have at least heard of Convention of States.
Dan Gilligan, the New Jersey Director of Convention of States. Floor is yours for a few more seconds. Anything?
Yeah, the only thing that I'll mention is that I don't believe that we have any issue with our message. People are very attracted to it. It's just a question of manpower. We have our volunteers working hard. We have some of our volunteers doing a lot more than and I'm a little bit concerned with burnout with some of these guys. So we have more opportunities. And if anybody would like to join us, we're interested. We have different things. I mean, we have doctors, construction guys, restaurant guys, attorneys. It's the butcher, baker, the candlestick maker on our team. Mm-hmm. And but the more people that we have engaged, there's a real, I think, direct relationship between that and our success in making New Jersey one of the 34 states in 2017. So I'd encourage everybody to check us out, get on the website. There's a ton of information. You get lost for days on that website, and then get in touch with us. We're all there too.
Okay, website once again, conventionofstates.com or cosaction.com. Thank you, Dan.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Tom. Enjoyed talking with you.
Always a pleasure.
Same here.